Chapter 213. Duh, 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 duh. A light knocking sound came from outside the room. In fact, this sound would be heard once a day. Getting off the bed, Yichun said, "Come in." Crack. The door was pushed open, and the waiter walked in with a gold card. "Young warrior, this is the VIP card that your friend asked me to give you." Yichun took it over and had a look. On it was written, "Gold Tripod City Auction House VIP card." A girl? Yichun asked. Yes. Yichun did not need to guess to know who it was. He asked again, "How many days until the Gold Tripod City auction? Any news?" "It should be tomorrow." "Oh, go prepare some food for me." Putting away the VIP card, Yichun ordered. After 15 minutes, the food and wine were all served. Yichun was enjoying the food in the living room, on the 3rd street next door. Inside the guest room of the luxurious restaurant, Guolanhue, the 6th knight, and the 4th knight were all there. They were discussing something. "Manager Guo, are you sure you want to recruit him into the Moon Pavilion?" The 6th knight was playing with a small dagger. Guolanhue said, "Of course. It would be such a shame if we did not use such a talent." The 4th knight had not fully recovered yet. His face was a bit pale as he said, "It would be very difficult. Geniuses all have their own way of doing things. It would be strange if it was not difficult. Just like the other 3 in the 7 knights, they are all top geniuses of their martial institutions. It took a lot of effort to invite them." The 6th knight laughed. "It seems like Manager Guo already has a plan." "It is not really a plan. We can only try to leave a good impression on him. When it is necessary, we can make him owe us a favor. For example, during this auction, if he has something that he likes, but he does not have enough money, I would not mind lending him some." Guolanhue revealed a smile on her face. As the manager of the Moon Pavilion, although her position was not really high, she could still use some resources. "It seems like I have to train harder. Otherwise, I might really be kicked out of the 7 knights." The 6th knight was feeling a bit stressed. The second day, morning, the number of warriors on the street had increased again. Many of them were even wounded. "I heard that there will be a fire dragon fruit in this Gold Tripod City auction. I wonder if it is true?" The fire dragon fruit is indeed a great item. For us clasping Yuan Realm warriors, it is definitely a top-grade pellet. Unfortunately, we are not rich enough. Even if all of our assets were added up, we probably wouldn't even be able to buy the skin of the dragon fruit. That's enough. We've arrived at the auction house. At the grand and spacious entrance of the auction house, the few of them walked in side by side. Dragon fruit. Good stuff. Yichun fell into deep thought as he listened to the other party's words. He was currently at the mid-clasping Yuan realm, and if he wanted to reach the peak level of the mid-clasping Yuan realm, he would have to accumulate Zhanqi slowly, which would not happen overnight. However, with this fire dragon fruit, he would be able to reach the peak level of the mid-clasping Yuan realm within a short period of time, which would save him a lot of time. After entering the gate, there was a gorgeous passageway on the right. 2 martial artists were guarding the passageway. It should be the VIP passage. Yichun walked over and flashed his VIP card. The warrior said with respect, "Please come in." Walking out from the other side of the passageway, Yichun saw Guolanhue. She was standing outside of the number 7 VIP room, and his VIP card was also number 7. Guolanhue laughed. "Yichun here?" Entering the luxurious VIP room, Yichun looked around for a while before sitting on the leather chair in the middle. Guolanhue sat right next to him. "I heard that there will be a fire dragon fruit in this auction," Guolanhue said casually. Yichun nodded. "I know. This fire dragon fruit is not a normal treasure. Without at least 300,000 to 400,000 low-rank soul stones, it would be hard to get it. But I can lend it to you for now." Yichun smiled but did not say anything. Soon the auction had started. The auctioneer with gray hair walked onto the stage. He started with the opening speech, then said, "Just like before, the Gold Tripod City auction will be divided into 2 parts. The first part will be trading with gold, and the second part will be trading with soul stones. I am sure that the first part will have a lot of treasures. Some of the treasures might even be more valuable than the treasures in the second part. If there are people who are interested but do not have enough gold, you can exchange soul stones for gold. The exchange rate is 1 to 350. Of course, our Gold Tripod City auction will only accept soul stones for gold. Exchanging gold for soul stones is against the rules. Now let the auction begin. Let's bring the first item to the stage. As the auctioneer finished talking, the whole place quieted down. A beautiful waitress walked out from the backstage with a round plate in her hand. The first item is a top-rank Mortal Realm martial art manual, named the Clear River Spell. It is named after the Clear River spell. The Zhengqi trained with it would be much denser than normal top-rank Mortal Realm martial arts. The starting price is 30,000 gold, and each increment must be at least 1,000 gold. Taking off the silk on the plate, the auctioneer introduced the name and the effect of the manual. 32,000. 35,000. Most of the bidders were condensing reality realm warriors. Although a lot of them had top-rank Mortal Realm martial arts, they still had a few high-rank Mortal Realm martial arts. Some of them did not even have top-rank Mortal Realm martial arts. Therefore, every time there was an auction, they would try their best to fight for it. Soon, the Clear River spell was bought by a mid-condensing reality realm warrior for 48,000 gold. Taking a sip of the tea that the waitress had brought, Yi-chan looked relaxed. He leaned back on the leather chair. Some of the items in the first part of the auction would not be that good, so he would not bid for it. But seeing how excited everyone was, he found it quite interesting. As time passed, the value of the items in the auction got higher and higher. The next item should be quite familiar to everyone. Those who use blades will definitely like it. The 37th item, a low-rank great weapon, the Blue Light Blade. Boom! The whole auction room was suddenly filled with excitement. A low-rank great weapon had appeared in the first part of the auction, which was rare. No wonder the auctioneer was so confident. The starting price of the Blue Light Blade is 1 million, and each increment must be no less than 50,000. Those who are interested, please start bidding. 1,500,000. 2 million. 3 million. Within a few breaths, the price of the Blue Light Blade had shot up to 3 million. But Yi-chan was a bit surprised. When he was in the Northwest Auction House of the Windy Nation, the top low-rank Great Blade, the Sky-Splitting Blade, only had a starting price of 300,000 gold. This Blue Light Blade was not as powerful as the Sky-Splitting Blade, but it still had a starting price of 1 million. Of course, the final result should be about the same. The Sky-Splitting Blade was bought by Lynch for 5,700,000 gold. Presumably, the final price of this Blue Light Blade would not be lower than that. After all, the Black Dragon Empire was not the Windy Nation. There were way too many rich people. Just as Yi-chan expected, the Blue Light Blade fell into the hands of a late clasping Yuan Realm warrior, and the final price was 5,500,000 gold. The first part of the auction is about to end. Now, it is the last item which is also the highlight of the auction. My friends who are short of gold, do not forget that we can exchange soul stones for gold at a ratio of 1 to 350. A lot of people rolled their eyes. In the market, a low-rank soul stone was worth around 400 gold. Sometimes there would be a drop in the price, but it could still be exchanged for 400 gold. But here, it was 1 to 350. Which meant that a low-rank soul stone could only be exchanged for 350 gold. Guolanhua laughed. Don't be fooled by the looks of disdain on most people's faces. When it comes to the critical moment, there must be a lot of people who want to exchange for gold. Yi-chan nodded. The last item of the first part of the auction would not be something simple. Some of the clasping Yuan Realm warriors did not lack soul stones, but it did not mean that they did not need gold. After all, most of the time, hundreds of thousands of gold would be more than enough. Waiting until the beautiful waitress put the round plate on the auction table, the auctioneer lifted up the silk cloth and said with a loud voice, "The last item of the auction, 3 sword-shaped plants." Sword-shaped plant. Yi-chan frowned. He had never heard of this kind of spiritual grass. Contrary to Yi-chan's reaction, a lot of clasping Yuan Realm martial artists in the other VIP rooms were tempted. There were even 1 or 2 astral-reaching realm martial artists among them. The auctioneer said slowly, "Everyone should know about the natural moat gorge of the Wild Goose Falling River. Back then, when the Battle King split open the Sky Pillar Mountain and formed the natural moat gorge, the remaining sword intent had not dissipated even after 500 years. It has been covering the inside of the natural moat gorge all this time. If you go in recklessly, you will definitely have your soul crushed by that horrifying sword intent, and you will be dead for sure. It is said that there was once an astral reaching realm warrior who went in, and since then, no one has seen him ever again. Within the area of the natural moat gorge, there were almost no plants that could survive. Even if someone tried to plant some, the life force in the seeds would be destroyed by the sword intent left behind by the Battle King. However, there was always a chance of survival. On the outer mountain wall of the natural moat gorge, there was a kind of plant that had survived. It was called the iron rock plant, which was extremely tough. Normal people would not be able to cut it apart with only a single attack. It was this kind of plant that had survived the Battle King's sword intent and slowly turned into a new kind of plant, the sword-shaped plant. Of course, not every iron rock plant could turn into a sword-shaped plant. The chance was so low that not even 1 out of 10,000 of them would succeed. Once the iron rock plant turned into a sword-shaped plant, it would absorb a tiny bit of sword intent. This sword intent had no shape or form, but it was very precious to the sword artists who had learned the sword intent. It was said that there had been people who had broken through the limit of the sword intent with the help of the sword-shaped plant and achieved entry-level sword intent. There were also people who had achieved entry-level sword intent. There were countless examples. You can all go and ask for proof. Inside the VIP room, after hearing the auctioneer's explanation, Yi-chan thought to himself, I see. The Battle King's sword intent is way too powerful. Going to the natural moat gorge would be suicide. But the sword-shaped plant would be different. It does not contain a lot of sword intent, so it would not be dangerous. What? Are you interested? This thing is very popular. You are so unlucky. Because of the beast wave, there were a lot of sword artists who had come to the gold tripod city. A small portion of them had already learned the sword intent, including an astral-reaching realm sword artist. He would definitely not give up on the sword-shaped plant. Guolanhua was very happy. Looking at Yi-chan, she knew that he was interested in the sword-shaped plant. But with his wealth, how could he compete with an astral-reaching realm sword artist? Then, she would be able to lend him some gold and make him owe her a favor. Yi-chan did not care too much about it. He did not have much, but he had plenty of gold. If he did not have enough gold, he still had a lot of jewelry and manuals. He even had millions of soul stones. It would be a piece of cake for him to get the sword-shaped plant. Chapter 2:14. The auctioneer did not waste any more time. He reached out his hand and lifted up the cloth. The 3 sword-shaped plants were lying quietly on the round plate. They were just like their name, shaped like a sharp great sword. There seemed to be a sharp light coming out of the tip, making people feel cold. The starting price for the sword-shaped plants is 3 million gold. Each bid must be at least 100,000 gold. The bidding starts now. 3,200,000. 3,300,000. The bidders were not all sword artists who had learned the sword intent. A lot of powerful sword artists who had not learned the sword intent had also joined the bidding. They all had the same idea, which was to see if they could make a breakthrough with the sword-shaped plants and learn their own sword intent. Yi-chan did not rush to join the bidding, since it was not the right time yet. Guolanhua saw that Yi-chan was calm and steady, so she could not help but look at him in a higher light. On this true spirit continent, a warrior who could improve his power at a fast speed, with a powerful survival ability, and be extremely calm at the same time. These kinds of geniuses were really rare. In the VIP room next door, a young man and an elder were sitting there. The young man was dressed in luxurious purple clothes, and his face was filled with arrogance. The old man had a head of black hair, and his face was thin. What was strange was that his skin was actually purple and stretched taut. At first glance, one would think that he was a hardened corpse of a zombie. These 3 sword-shaped plants might be able to help me learn the sword intent. With the sword intent, my power would increase by at least 10%, and I would be more confident in the competitions of the hidden dragon rank. The young man's eyes were burning with passion as he raised his hand and said, 4 million gold. 4 million. Anyone else? The auctioneer looked around. 5 million. Someone had increased the price. Guolanhua said, why are you still not joining? Yi-chan said, no rush. 7 million. Inside the vast auction house, the voice was echoing. Not knowing if it was just an illusion, everyone could feel a sharp intent spreading out, piercing through people's hearts. What a powerful sword intent. Yi Chen's expression changed a little bit. This sword intent was way more powerful than his. Even if it was not the completed sword intent, it would not be far from it. Guolanyue reminded him. He is that astral-reaching realm sword artist. Adding 2 million silvers all of a sudden. Ghost, this man is that astral-reaching realm sword artist. The arrogant teenager asked the elder next to him. The zombie-faced old man called the ghost elder said, "You don't have to worry about increasing the price. This person has his own way of doing things. It's impossible for him to kill people and steal their treasures." That's good. The youth raised his hand. 8 million taels. Old Su, it's not that I want to criticize you, but when it's time to be ruthless, you should be more ruthless. Make others fear you. That way, those juniors won't dare to compete with you. In the VIP lounge near the center, 2 middle-aged men in their 50s were sitting on leather chairs. The one who spoke was a fierce-looking man with a curly beard. Beside him was a middle-aged man with a square face. He was full of righteousness and looked straight ahead. The square-faced man smiled faintly. "You don't understand my Tao." This again. The fierce-looking middle-aged man smiled helplessly. The square-faced middle-aged man didn't bother to defend himself. His voice rang out, 10 million taels. A smile appeared on the auctioneer's face. 3 sword-shaped plants could be sold for 10 million taels, which was already the best. Although there were not many sword-shaped plants in the natural moat gorge, they were not that rare either. Every year, a small batch of them would grow. However, most of them were taken by the big martial institutions. Plus, the sword intent contained in the sword-shaped plants was only one stream. The chance of improving the sword intent was very small. The arrogant young man clenched his teeth. 12 million taels, 15 million taels. Just when he was bidding, the voice came again. "Ghost Elder, how many low-rank soul stones do you have? I will return them to you when we get back." The arrogant young man was determined to get the sword-shaped plants. There was no sword artist who didn't want to learn the sword intent, and he was no exception. The ghost elder frowned and said, 3 sword-shaped plants might not be enough for you to learn the sword intent, but I don't think you will give up just like that. How about this? If the price is over 30 million taels of gold, give up immediately. Low-rank soul stones were not cabbages. Normally, even the leader of a rank 8 or 9 martial institution would not have too many low-rank soul stones. The consumption of the whole martial institution would be a huge burden. All right. The young man nodded and said, 20 million taels, 30 million taels. Tightening his fists, the young man sat down dejectedly. He was hoping to win, but now he realized that it would be stupid to compete with an astral-reaching realm warrior in terms of wealth. Guolanyue secretly clicked her tongue. In just a short while, the price had already reached 30 million taels of gold. Even an astral-reaching realm warrior would not have that much gold. He should be preparing to exchange it with low-rank soul stones. As for mid-rank soul stones, it was not quite possible, since no one would be stupid enough to exchange mid-rank soul stones for low-rank soul stones. That would be a waste of a great treasure. Normally, even if you had a lot of gold, people might not be willing to exchange mid-rank soul stones with you. If you do not have gold, remember to ask me. Guolanyue smiled at Yi Chen. Yi Chen did not care about him. He raised up his hand and said, 50 million. What? You are crazy. The smile on Guolanyue's face froze. The square-faced man was a bit surprised. Raising the price by 20 million taels of gold at once was quite bold. He bid again, 60 million. The auction was dead silent. It was so quiet that even the sound of a needle dropping could be heard. Yi Chen looked normal. 70 million. 80 million. 100 million. Boom. The quiet auction ground had gone completely crazy. 100 million taels of gold. Even the top rank 7 martial institutions would not be able to take it out all of a sudden. It was not that they did not have the wealth, but it depended on who and what was going on. For something as small as the sword-shaped plant, no one would raise the price to 100 million taels of gold. It was not worth it. Guolanyue opened her mouth wide, not knowing what to say. She thought that Yi Chen would borrow money from her, but 100 million taels of gold was already beyond her control. Even if she wanted to borrow money, she would not be able to, since she was only a manager, not a manager of the Moon Pavilion. You have that much gold? Guolanhua asked. Yichun said, adding those jewelry, it should be about right. Did you rob a small martial institution? Guolanhua wiped off her sweat. I'm not that crazy yet. On the other side, the square-faced middle-aged man laughed. 100 million taels of gold? How dare he say that? All right, I only have this many low-rank soul stones with me. I have just added 3,000 mid-rank soul stones. The rest of the mid-rank soul stones will be used for training. Let's not compete anymore. The evil-looking middle-aged man said. What are you afraid of? I still have some low-rank soul stones with me. Worst comes to worst, I will add some mid-rank soul stones. Before the square-faced man could say anything, the evil-looking middle-aged man bid directly. 120 million. The auctioneer wiped off his sweat, which was from the excitement. 3 sword-shaped plants being sold for 120 million was definitely the first time in history. He said with a shaky voice, 120 million. Who else wants to bid? If not, I will start the count. 150 million. Yichun raised his hand in front of Guolanhua's shocked eyes. Damn! How much gold does this brat have? The evil-looking middle-aged man wanted to raise his hand, but he put it back down. As an astral-reaching realm warrior, he did not have that many low-rank soul stones with him. He had used all of them to exchange for mid-rank soul stones. If he kept this up, he might not even be able to keep his training capital. 150 million. Who else? Who else wants to bid? The auctioneer now knew what it meant to be rich. He did not even care about gold at all. He could guarantee that even the leader of a rank 7 martial institution would not be able to compete with him. Who would spend 150 million on 3 sword-shaped plants? He waited for a while, but no one responded. 150 million going once, 150 million going twice, 150 million going thrice. Sold. Congratulations to the friend in the number 7 VIP room. Guolanhua rolled her eyes. 150 million taels of gold for 3 sword-shaped plants? What a waste. Even if gold is worthless, it should not be used like this. Gold is only a material thing. These 3 plants are very useful to me, and it will be hard to find them in the future. Yichun had his own plan. These 3 plants contained the sword intent left behind by the Battle King, and he had the Battle King's sword with him. He had a feeling that when the Battle King's sword touched the sword intent left behind by the Battle King, something unexpected would happen. It would be an opportunity that he could not let go of. As for the gold, he did not care about it at all. He had gotten more than 40 million gold from the Goat Head Mountain, and added with the 10 million gold that he had now, it would be around 60 million gold. If he added the jewelry, he would have around 110 million gold. The 40 million gold that he needed would only be around 100,000 low-rank soul stones, and he had more than 2 million low-rank soul stones with him. Besides that, he also had 4 mid-rank Earthrealm manuals. According to 5 million gold for 1 low-rank Earthrealm manual, he could sell them for at least 10 million gold, which would be more than enough to cover the 40 million gold gap. Never mind, there will be the fire dragon fruit in the second part of the auction. You should exchange all of your low-rank soul stones for gold. Then the fire dragon fruit would be hard to get. Guolanhua thought that Yichun had put all of his money into this, including the low-rank soul stones. Otherwise, how could a normal person have 150 million gold? Even Sea of Souls realm warriors would not have that much gold. For warriors, soul stones were the most important thing, and having hundreds of thousands of gold would be more than enough. 3 sword-shaped plants were soon brought in. Yichun did not put them into the storage ring of the Battle King's sword, since it was not the right time yet. The second part of the auction begins now. From now on, gold would not be able to participate in the bidding. Only soul stones would do. The rule of the Gold Tripod City auction is that 1 mid-rank soul stone can be exchanged for 45 low-rank soul stones, and low-rank soul stones cannot be exchanged for mid-rank soul stones. After resting for a while in the backstage, the auctioneer walked up again. Hearing those words, Yichun chuckled to himself. 1 mid-rank soul stone could normally be exchanged for 50 low-rank soul stones, which would only be higher. Normally, not many people would exchange mid-rank soul stones for low-rank soul stones, just like how not many people would exchange low-rank soul stones for gold. It was a bit of a contradiction, but it was the common sense of the true spirit continent. If he did not have enough gold and jewelry, Yichun would not want to use his mid-rank soul stones to exchange for them, since gold would only appear in small-scale auctions. In a big auction like the Gold Tripod City, it would be very rare to see the first part of the auction with gold. Chapter 215. The first auction item is a low-rank inner armor, the Black Scale Armor. Warriors below the astral reaching realm can increase their defense by more than 10%. Besides that, the Black Scale Armor itself is extremely tough, almost indestructible. The base price is 15,000 low-rank soul stones, and each increment must be no less than 1,000 low-rank soul stones. The auctioneer took off the silk cloth on the round plate and said loudly, "Low-rank inner armor?" Yichun touched his chest. He was also wearing a low-rank light armor. If it were not for this low-rank light armor, he would have taken a gold-shattering finger attack from Mr. Jean in the heavy mysterious mountains, and it would have broken more than just a couple of ribs. After all, Mr. Jean was an experienced late-clasping Yuan Realm warrior, and the gold-shattering finger was a mid-rank Earth Realm finger art, which was quite powerful in breaking defenses. Even if Yichun had trained his King Kong Jade body, it would still be hard for him to block it head-on. While Yichun was thinking, the price of the Black Scale Armor kept increasing. Soon it had broken through the 30,000 mark, reaching 32,000 low-rank soul stones. This price was basically twice of the other low-rank great weapons. But it was not that surprising, since life-saving items were always very precious, especially when battling with beasts. Having a low-rank inner armor was definitely the most important thing. But of course everything had its price limit. When the price of the Black Scale Armor reached 50,000 low-rank soul stones, no one raised the price anymore. One after another the auction items were sold, and the atmosphere was getting heated up. 5 Fire Yuan Crystals. The Fire Yuan Crystals contain extremely pure Fire Yuan Qi. Warriors who train fire element martial arts would not need to spend much effort to absorb the Fire Yuan Qi and turn it into their own Zhen Qi or Zhan Yuan. According to my estimation, each Fire Yuan crystal is equivalent to 15,000 low-rank soul stones. Therefore, the base price of 5 Fire Yuan crystals is 75,000 low-rank soul stones. Each increment must be no less than 5,000 low-rank soul stones. The bidding starts now. 80,000. 90,000. The rich clasping Yuan Realm warriors made their moves, and they were all late clasping Yuan Realm, or even peak-level late clasping Yuan Realm warriors. Normal clasping Yuan Realm warriors could not even get 50,000 low-rank soul stones, so naturally, they would not be able to compete. Inside the VIP room, the fire spirit, who was sitting next to the Black Crow Man, raised his hand. 200,000. Once this price was out, everyone went silent. There were actually late-clasping Yuan Realm warriors who could take out 200,000 low-rank soul stones, but it would definitely be a huge loss for them. After all, they would still need a huge amount of low-rank soul stones in the future, and they would not be able to spend all of them at once. Plus, they would not be able to compete with astral-reaching realm warriors in terms of wealth. Just like the auction of the sword-shaped plant, if that astral-reaching realm warrior did not participate in it, 30 million gold would be the highest price, and it would not be able to reach 150 million gold. For astral-reaching realm warriors, besides mid-rank soul stones, everything else was nothing. In another VIP room, Tian Hao and the Supreme Elder of the Alchemist sect were sitting together. As for Meng Chao, he was still recovering from his injuries. The old man said slowly, 250,000. The fire spirit continued to increase the price. 300,000. Astral-reaching realm warriors are also rich. In all fairness, after losing the wealth that he had gotten from the Goat Head Mountain, Yichun would not be able to compete with the astral-reaching realm warriors at all. The sword-shaped plant would definitely be bought by that astral-reaching realm warrior. Guolanue glanced at Yichun. Only you would be stupid enough to compete with an astral-reaching realm warrior. Yichun forced a smile. He knew that she was still thinking about this. His thinking was very simple. He would not let go of anything that could increase his power. The true spirit continent was a world of powerful warriors, not a world of wealth. If he did not know what was more important, he would lose everything sooner or later. 300,000 has already surpassed the value of the Fire Yuan crystals. There is no point in continuing. The Supreme Elder shook his head and stopped bidding. In the end, 5 fire yuan crystals landed on the fire spirit's hand. The 25th auction item, a fire dragon fruit. Although the fire dragon fruit has the word fire in it, it is not a spirit fruit with a fire element. It is just a name. Besides, the fire dragon fruit does not contain yuan qi, but a huge amount of spirit qi. Spirit qi is the same quality as zhan qi. Warriors can easily convert the spirit qi into their own zhan qi, and they do not need to train it hard. This means that you can save a lot of time to accumulate zhan qi. For example, if you are at the early clasping yuan realm, one fire dragon fruit could help you reach the peak level of the early clasping yuan realm. Of course, the fire dragon fruit is not omnipotent. It can only increase zhan qi quickly, but it cannot help you make a breakthrough. Everyone, please remember this, in case you say that the Gold Tripod City auction house is cheating you. The auctioneer explained the effects of the fire dragon fruit in an orderly manner. Putting down the teacup, a smile appeared on Yi Chen's face. The fire dragon fruit was finally out. Right now, he was at mid-clasping yuan realm. If he wanted to reach the peak level mid-clasping yuan realm, he would need a lot of accumulation. If it was slow, it might take more than a year, and if it was fast, it would take at least half a year. For him, it would be way too long. Your competitors are all clasping yuan realm warriors. Normally, astral reaching realm warriors would not participate. The fire dragon fruit would not have much of an effect on them. However, without 300,000 to 400,000 low-rank soul stones, you would not be able to get it. A lot of people did not participate in the bidding before because they wanted this fire dragon fruit. Guolanue said. Yi Chen said, since there are no astral-reaching realm warriors competing, then this fire dragon fruit will definitely be mine. So confident, Guolanue frowned. She did not understand where Yi Chen had gotten so much wealth from. After all, soul stones were not like gold, which one could have as much as one wanted. The soul stones were collected from the spirit fountain, and each party would not have too many spirit fountains. The true spirit continent's spirit fountains were also quite limited. Every time one was used, it would be one less. However, gold was not a consumable item. It would only flow from one party to another. The base price of the fire dragon fruit is 100,000 low-rank soul stones. Each increment should be no less than 10,000 low-rank soul stones. Friends who are interested, please bid. The auctioneer said with passion. 110,000. 130,000. 150,000. Almost as soon as the auctioneer spoke, the price had increased by 50,000. Yi Chen rarely made his bid earlier, so he bid 200,000. Young master, this brat is a powerful competitor for you, the ghost head said to the teenager. The teenager sneered. He had spent 150 million gold before, which must have included low-rank soul stones. I do not believe that he would be able to compete with me. This time, he had brought 350,000 low-rank soul stones, all for the fire dragon fruit. The sword-shaped plant was just an accident. Plus, he did not bid as hard as he could. 30 million gold was the limit that he had in mind, and the rest of the low-rank soul stones were for the fire dragon fruit. 220,000. The teenager bid. Damn it. I will risk it. I had only reached late clasping yuan realm 3 months ago. Without any surprises, it would take me at least 2 to 3 years to reach the peak level. In the crowd, a low-profile late clasping yuan realm warrior raised up his hand and yelled, 250,000. Damn. I will give up. I will just train slowly. That's right. 250,000 low-rank soul stones is way too shocking. All of the people who participated in the bidding sat down dejectedly. They were both glad and regretful. They were glad that they had managed to keep their wealth, but regretful that they had missed the chance to get the fire dragon fruit. 280,000. Yi Chen continued to bid. Be careful not to get robbed, Guolanue said in a depressed tone. Yi Chen laughed. I am almost at my limit. I can only use 200,000 low-rank soul stones anyway. I will have to explain to the management of the Moon Pavilion after this. But as long as you join us, everything will be fine. Then I hope the price of the fire dragon fruit will go beyond my limit. A cold light flashed through the teenager's eyes as he said with a low voice, 300,000. As he finished speaking, besides Yi-chan, no one else bid. 300,000 low-rank soul stones would be worth more than 100 million gold in the Gold Tripod City auction. Outside, it would be 120 to 30 million gold. Of course, it was easy to exchange soul stones for gold, but it would be very hard to exchange gold for soul stones. Normally, there would only be a small amount of exchange and not a large amount of exchange. Therefore, for most of the rich clasping Yuan realm warriors, 300,000 was a horrifying number. 320,000. Yi-chan would not give up on the fire dragon fruit. 350,000. The teenager's face was extremely dark. 360,000. It would not be like the gold, where it would be 10 or 20 million. Yi-chan did not dare to be too reckless. Sitting heavily on the leather chair, the teenager gave up on bidding. The ghost head said strangely, "Young master, I still have more than 100,000 low-rank soul stones. No need. I was planning to buy the fire dragon fruit with 350,000 low-rank soul stones. But since he did not give me face, then don't blame me for being cruel." He was different from that astral-reaching realm sword artist. Since he could not compete with the wealth, then he would compete with the power. He wanted the other party to pay back the cost with interest. The auctioneer was a bit disappointed. He thought that the fire dragon fruit would be able to create another record, but it seemed like it would not be possible anymore. But 360,000 soul stones had already satisfied him. In the past, the final price of the fire dragon fruit would be around 300,000 soul stones. Sometimes it would be less than 400,000 soul stones. 360,000 going once, 360,000 going twice, 360,000 going thrice. Congratulations again, the friend in the number 7 VIP room, the auctioneer said. For the second part of the auction, the fire dragon fruit was obviously not the most valuable item. In fact, the fire dragon fruit could not even make it into the top 5. The fifth last item was a high-rank Earth Realm martial skill manual Sky-Splitting Claw, which was bought by an astral-reaching realm warrior for 38,000 mid-rank soul stones. The fourth last item was a whole bottle of healing medicine, which could cure astral-reaching realm warriors' wounds extremely fast. In the end, it was bought by the Black Crow Man for 40,000 mid-rank soul stones. The last 3 items were even more impressive. They were a mid-rank great weapon, a high-rank Earth Realm martial art manual, and a holy medicine that could have a 30% chance of reaching the astral-reaching realm. The mid-rank great weapon was a blue stick, and its final price was 42,000 mid-rank soul stones. The high-rank Earth Realm martial art manual was 60,000 mid-rank soul stones. The holy medicine that could have a 30% chance of reaching the astral-reaching realm once again fell into the hands of the Black Crow Man. Its price had reached an astonishing 80,000 mid-rank soul stones, which could be exchanged for 4 million low-rank soul stones in the market, or 1,600 million gold. Everyone in the audience was shocked. Even Yi-chan had to admit that he was not as powerful as the Black Crow Man. The Black Crow Man is an inner master of the Rank 6 martial institution, the Sky-Flying Devil Martial School. His wealth is not something that some of the astral-reaching realm warriors who like to travel alone could compare with. This is the benefit of being a member of a powerful martial institution. Yi-chan shook his head and stood up, preparing to leave. Chapter 216. Guolanhua said seriously, that astral-reaching realm sword artist might be easy to talk to, but not the others. Most importantly, the Gold Tripod City is not the martial city. I am afraid that once you go out you will be stopped by people. If you do not mind, you can come to our branch of the Moon Pavilion for a while. I believe those people would not dare to do anything in our branch. Even I do not know how deep the Moon Pavilion's power is. Those rank 7 martial school leaders would still be polite to our leader. Thank you. Besides the sword-shaped plant, Yi-chan did not think that there would be any astral-reaching realm warriors who would want to attack him. Even if they were at peak level late clasping Yuan realm, he would still be able to fight with them for a while. In the worst-case scenario, he could just run away. With his separating shadow flying art, it should not be too hard for him to run away. But, if he could use the fire dragon fruit and the sword-shaped plant before he ran away, it would obviously be more confident. Young master, he is out. At the exit of the auction, the ghost head stood right next to the teenager like a ghost. If one did not pay attention, it would be very easy to ignore him. The teenager nodded. This is the auction house. Don't do anything yet. Let's go out first. Outside of the auction house was a huge plaza. In the middle of the plaza, there was a 27 meters tall statue with a bronze color. According to the rumors, this was the founder of the Gold Tripod City auction house, and the current owner of the auction house was his descendant. Yi-chan and Guolanhua walked side by side, while the fourth and sixth knight followed on the side. The four of them left the auction house and appeared on the plaza. Just as Guolanhua had expected, there was indeed someone blocking their way. Seeing the fourth knight behind Yi-chan, the teenager was a bit scared. But thinking about the ghost head behind him, he did not hesitate anymore. He said lightly, "Friend, you are quite rich, which I admire. However, the sword-shaped plant and the fire dragon fruit are very useful to me. I wonder if I can sell them?" Yi-chan glanced at the ghost head. This man had given him a lot of pressure. He should be a peak-level late-clasping Yuan Realm Warrior, and not just a normal peak-level late-clasping Yuan Realm Warrior. As for what the teenager had said, Yi-chan laughed in his mind. He said, "I have spent 150 million gold on the 3 sword-shaped plants, and 1 fire dragon fruit is 360,000 low-rank soul stones. How much are you prepared to pay?" The young man's face sank slightly, but he still put on a smile and said, "I don't have so much gold and spirit stones at the moment. How about this? I'll pay you 10 million gold and 100,000 low-grade spirit stones first. I'll owe you the rest first. When I have enough money, I'll pay you back double. Sorry, no credit allowed. Since you do not have money, there is nothing." Ghost Elder's gloomy voice came over. "Little brother, this is not how you should behave. My young master has already given you a lot of face." Right then, Guolanhua took a step forward. "He is a friend of our Moon Pavilion. You two, please step aside." Canvas Moon Pavilion. The young man and Elder Ghost's expressions changed slightly. Turning his eyes back to Yi-chan, the young man's eyes were as sharp as knives. He said word by word, "When you are outside, it is always better to have one more friend than one more enemy. I only want 2 sword-shaped plants and half of the dragon fruit. The price is still the same as before. What do you think?" The last 2 words, the young man had a hint of coldness hidden in his eyes. He stared at Yi-chan without blinking. "If it were you, would you agree?" Yi-chan's expression was the same as usual, and there was a faint smile on his face. However, there was an even deeper killing intent hidden in the depths of his eyes. Today this enmity had been formed. If he didn't kill them, others would definitely kill him. So, as long as there was a chance, he didn't mind killing these 2 people. "Very good. Remember to be careful when you go out. Don't fall." After saying that, the young man and the spectral elder left. On the street. "Young master, what do you plan to do?" Ghost Elder used his Zhan Qi to transmit his voice. "Of course I will kill him," the young man said coldly. The spectral elder nodded. "The Gold Tripod City is too big. We will have to gather a lot of people and block all the routes. Wait until he is separated from the people from the Moon Pavilion, then we will make our move." Spectral Elder, just in case, you will need to bring a few more members from the Ghost Hall. I do not want any accidents to happen. Sure. Before the first wave was over, another wave came. Yi-chan was just about to go to the branch of the Moon Pavilion to sit down when 2 middle-aged men with immeasurable chi walked over. On the left was a square-faced middle-aged man with a straight back, wearing a long blue robe. Next to him was a ferocious-looking man with a bare chest. His face was full of muscles, and there was a heavy evil chi in the corner of his eyes. With just one look, one could tell that he was someone who had killed countless people. One was righteous and the other evil. Their auras were very contradictory, but if you observed them carefully, they seemed to be in harmony. Not to mention their auras, both of them were real astral-reaching realm warriors. Guolanhua swallowed her saliva. The square-faced middle-aged man, who was the astral-reaching realm sword artist, was very easy to talk to. She had never heard of him killing innocent people. As for the ferocious-looking man, he was definitely not a kind person. She wondered why they were looking for Yi-chan. Was it because of the sword-shaped plant? "Brat, my friend wants to buy one of your sword-shaped plants. Do you have any problem with that?" The ferocious-looking man went straight to the point. Yi-chan observed the man's expression and said calmly, "One sword-shaped plant, we can talk about it." The ferocious-looking man was about to say something, but the square-faced man stopped him and said apologetically, "My friend here is a bit rude. I hope you don't mind him. Also, I only want one sword-shaped plant, and the price is 200,000 low-rank soul stones. Of course, if you don't want to sell it, I will not force you. You don't have to worry about it." 200,000 low-rank soul stones? To be honest, Yi-chan was a bit shocked. 200,000 low-rank soul stones would be 80 million gold, which was way more than what he had paid for one sword-shaped plant. He thought they would only offer 50,000 low-rank soul stones at most, or even less. But the situation was not in his favor. Even if they only offered 10,000 low-rank soul stones, he would still have to sell it. "What? You think it is too little? I only have this many low-rank soul stones with me. How about 1,000 mid-rank soul stones?" The square-faced man saw Yi-chan's expression change, so he said. Yi-chan shook his head. "Even 200,000 is too much. I thought you would not pay this much." The square-faced man laughed. "Originally, without my participation, the final price of the 3 sword-shaped plants would not be more than 30 to 40 million gold. Speaking of which, it is still your loss." Without saying anything, Yi-chan took out a sword-shaped plant from his storage ring and handed it over to the man. "This storage ring is for you." The square-faced man threw the low-rank storage ring with the low-rank soul stones directly into Yi-chan's hand. Yi-chan did not even look at it before throwing it into his own storage ring. The square-faced man was planning to leave, but he noticed Yi-chan's action. He paused a bit, then said with a bright voice, "Young man, my name is Song-yen, what is your name?" "Senior Song, my name is Yi-chan." "Yi-chan, good name, I will remember you." After Song-yen and the evil-looking man left, Guolanhua wiped the sweat off her forehead and said to Yi-chan, "You did well. A real man knows when to give and when to give. I thought you would not sell it." Yi-chan said, "People live to survive. As long as they have not completely lost their dignity, I believe every rational person would do the same." Hearing him, the 4th knight and the 6th knight seemed to be thinking about something. The moon pavilion took up a huge space. There were more than 20 yards, a couple of halls, and a huge palace. Entering it, Yi-chan found a lot of people who were younger than him training, sweating profusely. There were also some clasping Yuan realm warriors giving them lessons. The content was all different, not all about martial arts. However, in Yi-chan's ears it sounded different. A lot of these lessons were about how to behave. In Yi-chan's eyes, only by knowing how to behave would one be able to succeed. Every year, the Moon Pavilion would take in a lot of young people with potential. Among them, the top ones would be sent to the headquarters to take the test. Those who passed the test would become the backup members of the 7 Knights. Those who failed the test would also become the focus of the Moon Pavilion. Guolanhua explained to Yi-chan as they walked. Yi-chan went silent. He had not seen the headquarters of the Moon Pavilion, but just a single branch had allowed him to see a lot of things. One branch was not scary, but hundreds and thousands of branches combined would not be that scary. It was not hard to imagine that with this kind of strict system, the Moon Pavilion would be able to train a huge amount of martial geniuses that were no weaker than the martial institutions, providing more excellent blood for the organization. From a certain aspect, the system of the Moon Pavilion was more perfect and excellent than the martial institutions. But of course, there were advantages and disadvantages. Compared to the martial institutions, the power of the Moon Pavilion was undoubtedly scattered, which made it easy to be taken down one by one. Unless the power of the Moon Pavilion was strong enough, the enemies would not dare to attack easily. "You can stay in this yard for now. It has been cleaned already." In front of a delicate yard, Guolanhua stopped. Yi-chan said, "Thank you." "No need to thank me. I am just trying to attract you to join the Moon Pavilion." Guolanhua chuckled. Yi-chan said seriously, "Wait until I get to know more about the Moon Pavilion. If I am interested in it, then maybe I will join." "Oh, is that so?" Guolanhua's eyes brightened. The night slowly arrived, and the moonlight was like water. Inside the clean bedroom, Yi-chan sat on the bed with his legs crossed. He touched his storage ring with his finger, and a longan-sized red fruit appeared in Yi-chan's hand. The fruit was crystal clear, and there were tiny patterns on its surface. If observed carefully, One could see that the patterns were not messy at all. Instead, they were spread out in lines. At first glance, it looked like a dragon pattern made up of simple lines, which was quite mysterious. Without hesitation, Yi-chan picked up the dragon fruit and shoved it into his mouth. Gulp! Yi-chan bit through the skin, and the dragon fruit melted in his mouth. It turned into liquid and was swallowed whole. All of a sudden, a gentle chi spread out in his body. Yi-chan understood that it should be the spirit chi that the auctioneer had mentioned, which was no weaker than Zhan Qi. Activating his mysterious great art, Yi-chan closed his eyes. Almost every time he completed a full circle, Yi-chan's cultivation would increase by another level. There was no blockage during the whole process and it was just natural. The 360th full circle had been completed. Hoo! A wave of transparent pattern spread out from Yi-chan's body. The window not far away started to make a loud noise, and the wooden table beside the bed had been pushed out a couple of meters by the chi flow. Opening his eyes, Yi-chan slowly let out a breath. Turning the spirit chi into Zhan Qi was much easier than I thought. I thought it would take a couple of times longer. Within a couple of hours, Yi-chan's cultivation had improved drastically. He had reached the peak-level mid-clasping yuan realm from the mid-clasping yuan realm, and his Zhan Qi had increased by more than 30%. Chapter 217. Separate. Yi-chan suddenly slapped on the bed, and his body floated into the air. In the air, his body shook once, and a couple of shadows shot out like lightning, circling around the room for a couple of times before merging back into his body. Because of the extreme speed, it gave people a feeling that they were dancing around. Landing on the ground, Yi-chan mumbled to himself, "As my cultivation has increased, my separating shadow flying art has reached its peak. Unfortunately, I still need some time to reach the second realm of the Flow Rudra 3 mysterious spell. Otherwise, I would be able to increase my separating shadow flying art to the high-rank Earth realm. Once my flying art reaches the high rank, I would be so fast that I would be able to fight against peak-level late-clasping Yuan realm warriors." Yi-chan was very clear that he would not be able to win against the Wind Wolf at its peak. After all, that lone peak kill combined with the one-sword attack was not something that he could easily perform. Without that sword attack, the chance of him winning against the Wind Wolf would be less than 10%. Since he could not increase his attacking power in a short period of time, then improving his flying art would be the best choice. Once his separating shadow flying art reached the high-rank Earth realm, people who were more powerful than him would not be able to catch up with him easily, and killing him would be even more difficult. I wonder what the other two sword-shaped plants would bring me. After thinking for a while, Yi-chan took out a sword-shaped plant from his storage ring. The plant only had one leaf, which was about 3 feet long. It was narrow and sharp, with a sword ridge in the middle, and a triangular tip. Holding the root of the plant, Yi-chan felt like he was holding a magical great sword. The sword intent seemed to be ready to burst out and kill everything in the world. What an aggressive sword intent! Being caught off guard, Yi-chan was immediately affected by the sword intent contained in the plant. His blood started to boil. If it were a normal warrior with a weaker mind under the influence of this sword intent, he would probably take the plant out to kill people without being able to control himself. Putting away the plant, Yi-chan sighed. It was only a bit of sword intent, and it was already so magical. The power of the Battle King back in the day was unimaginable. It was already late at night. Yi-chan took off his jacket and light armor, keeping a part of his consciousness to go to sleep. For a couple of days in a row, Yi-chan had been studying the 3-flow Rudra spell. As for improving his sword intent, it was not part of Yi-chan's plan. He had only improved his sword intent to around 50% a couple of days ago. Right now, even if he had the sword-shaped plant and the Battle King's sword, it would not be possible for him to improve it again. The clothes on her arm had been torn apart by the sword light, but Fourth Knight still did not move. This guy is so powerful. Even Fourth Knight has lost. Fourth Knight is also very powerful. Just then, that fist aura had even stopped me from breathing. 7 knights are the 7 most powerful warriors in our moon pavilion. They are our targets. One day, I will become one of them. Most of the young people in the branch were younger than Yi-chan. They had never seen the top young warriors battling before. Their blood was boiling and they were all excited. Guolanhua saw that her goal had been achieved, so she taught them a lesson. There is always someone better than you. If you want to succeed, you have to set your sights bigger. Being the top warrior in the branch is nothing. There are so many geniuses out there. As long as you are willing to work hard, one day you will be able to reach their level. After teaching them a lesson, Guolanhua let them go back to their own places. Those who needed to train would go back to training, and those who needed to go out to do missions. It was just like a small martial institution. You lost. Not because of your battling power but because of your skills. Fourth Knight frowned his pretty eyebrows as he looked at Yi-chan. Yi-chan said, "What's wrong? You don't look that old, but why do you look like you have been studying sword arts for decades? I have fought with Second Knight and Third Knight before, and their skills were almost the same as mine. I have never fought with First Knight before, but there is no way he would be able to reach your level." Yi-chan knew what she was talking about. He thought for a while and said, "Martial arts are for warriors. It is not something that can be used to its peak. Although your fist art is powerful, and your skills are powerful, it has not reached the level where you can use it as you wish. It is because you are restricted by the fist art itself. You have to know that no matter how powerful a fist art is, it is still created by someone else, and it might not be suitable for you." "Then I need to create my own fist art?" Fourth Knight did not understand what Yi-chan was trying to say. Yi-chan shook his head. "No, it is still too early to create a martial art. What I want to say is that a battle should have its own style, and a martial art should have its own style as well. The first step is to turn other people's things into your own, and get rid of the parts that are not suitable for you." With such an explanation, Guolanhua understood immediately. Both Guolanhua and Sixth Knight were shocked. Yi-chan was only 17 years old, so where did he come up with such a profound theory? After thinking for a while, Fourth Knight had more or less learned something. He could not help but say, "Speaking of which, I really want to see you fight with Second Knight. Her Sky Demon power field is like a turtle shell, and no matter how hard you try to break it, I wonder if you can do something about it with your skills." Sky Demon power field. She is a disciple of the Sky Demon martial school? Guolanhua smiled. Second Knight is the second disciple of the Sky Demon martial school, Murong Qingcheng. Her Sky Demon power field is indeed mysterious, and it can ignore all kinds of skills. However, the Sky Demon palm print can break all kinds of skills. Just like what Fourth Knight said, it would be interesting for you two to fight. Murong Qingcheng was actually the second knight of the Moon Pavilion. Yi-chan froze for a second, then shook his head. His opponent was indeed very powerful. Her Sky Demon power field could twist all kinds of attacks, which gave her the upper hand. Plus that aggressive Sky Demon palm print, one attacking and one defending, it would be extremely hard to deal with. Judging from this, she was ranked 27th in the last Hidden Dragon rank competition, which was obviously not enough. She should be in the top 15. After a month, the Fourth Knight and the Sixth Knight had already returned to the headquarters. Under Guolanhua's persuasion, Yi-chan left the Gold Tripod City. In the sparse forest outside of the Gold Tripod City, the sun was shining brightly. Crack! Crack! Walking on the small road that was covered with fallen leaves, Yi-chan quietly released his soul power. Everything within a 1,000-meter radius was under his control. At the condensing reality realm, warriors would be able to spread out their Zhanqi and combine it with their mental power to sense the surroundings. After reaching the clasping Yuan realm, this range would be expanded even further. Basically, they would be able to sense everything within a few hundred meters radius. However, when traveling in the martial world, most of the people had trained some martial arts that could hide their Zhanqi or Zhenqi vibration, which made it very hard to detect. If they ran into some powerful warriors, they would not even be able to tell if they were right behind their backs. However, Yi-chen's soul power was different. No matter how powerful your attacks were, under the scanning of his soul power, everything would be seen clearly. Even if you were to go invisible, it would not work unless you disappeared from this space and reappeared from another space. Only then would you be able to avoid being scanned by his soul power. Obviously, facing someone with this kind of power, Yi-chen did not need to run anymore. After all, he had never heard of a power that could travel through space. Running would be pointless. According to Yi-chen's understanding, soul power was a very high-end existence. It was not just 1.5 times more powerful than the so-called mental power. It would be at least 10 times more powerful. 500 meters to the right behind me, there is an enemy on the big tree. Without stopping, Yuchan sneered. His body suddenly split into two. One continued to walk, while the other sneaked into the deep part of the forest. If it was not for direct observation, no one would know that Yuchan had already escaped. The low-rank Earth Realm martial art, the Qi hiding spell, that he got from the Bloody Butcher started to work. He had trained it to the peak of the upper realm a long time ago. Not only could he hide his cultivation level, he could also hide his own Jin Qi and Qi vibration easily. It was way more powerful than the martial arts in the world. 500 meters away, a middle-aged man in black stood on top of a big tree. He closed his eyes from time to sense something. Soon he smiled. His opponent was still in control. Without any sound, a faint shadow appeared behind him. Swoosh! A cold light flashed, and a bloody line appeared on the middle-aged man's neck. His head slowly slid down, blood splashing everywhere. Putting his sword back into its scabbard, Yuchan took out a jade bottle from his storage ring. He unplugged the bottle and sprinkled some white powder on the blood, covering the smell of blood. After doing all this, Yuchan took off the middle-aged man's storage ring and put it away. He thought to himself, this man is a senior late-class Bingyuan realm martial artist. If I were to fight him face to face, it would take me at least a couple of attacks to kill him. Unfortunately, he ran into me. In a complicated environment, even the most powerful peak-level late-class Bingyuan realm martial artist would not be able to take one sword attack from me. As for killing an astral-reaching realm martial artist, I don't have much confidence yet. A gust of wind blew over, and Yuchan disappeared. Chapter 218. On the other side, two men in black were communicating with each other through Zhanqi from 50 meters away. Gue Lu, what do you think the young master and the ghost head are thinking? Isn't it just a clasping Yuan realm brat? Did they really need to call us here? The muscular man in black was not happy at all. He had finally been able to relax for a couple of days and play with women, but now he had to deal with this. He was not happy at all. The skinny man in black said, Guizhou, the young master said that if we kill that brat, each of us will get 30,000 low-rank soul stones. Don't be too greedy. If it were not for those 30,000 low-rank soul stones, I would not even be willing to come. Alright, why don't the two of us just attack and kill that brat? Do you want to die? If you ruin the young master's plan, he will definitely skin you alive. Just kidding. Alright, why is the ghost head not here yet? Sure, he is here. Stop your Zhanqi communication, in case he notices your Zhanqi vibration. Hearing that, the man in black closed his eyes and infused his true qi into the air. Together with his mental power, he spread it out. Gradually, he could see everything within a radius of a few hundred meters. A young man in blue was walking towards him at a steady pace. From time to time, he would look around cautiously. Today will be the day you die. The man in black laughed viciously. Swoosh! The man's face froze. The head of the man in black slid down and was caught by a hand, which then gently put it on the ground. Soon, some white powder was sprinkled on the ground, covering the smell of blood. I did not expect that I would be so valued. The people watching and ambushing are all old late-class Bingyuan realm warriors. Locking his soul power on the skinny man in black 50 meters away, Yi Chen's body flashed and disappeared. The skinny man in black looked a bit anxious. They had been waiting here for a long time. According to the plan, they would only attack when the ghost head and the young master arrived. However, they were about to leave the ambush, and there was still no sign of the ghost head and the young master. Did something happen to them? Whatever, let's wait a bit longer. Something is wrong. This is not the real body. The skinny man in black seemed to have noticed something. His lips moved slightly, trying to send a Zhanqi message to the man in black. Unfortunately, he did not have the chance anymore. An extremely sharp great sword had pierced through his neck, stopping his voice there. Very good, let's wait here for our prey to appear. Outside, Yi Chen might be afraid of the stiff-faced old man, but inside the forest, the old man was just his prey. Thousands of meters away. Young Master Gui Wu is an expert in stealth. With him following us, we'll be safe. Plus, there's also Gui Lu and Gui Jiu waiting to ambush us. That kid won't be able to escape even if he has wings. The ghost head walked silently behind the young man. The young man said, after this is done, Gui Wu, Gui Lu, and Gui Jiu will each get 30,000 low-rank soul stones. The rest is yours, and I only want the sword-shaped plant and the fire dragon fruit. Many thanks, young master. The ghost head looked very happy. At his age, it was almost impossible for him to break through to the astral-reaching realm. Therefore, he did not want to let go of any opportunity to increase his battling power. And those treasures that could increase one's battling power, which one of them did not require a huge amount of spirit stones. The two of them were extremely fast. It only took them a dozen breaths to cover the distance of several thousand meters. Strange, why hasn't Gui Wu appeared yet? The ghost head looked confused. Before this, they had made a plan. Gui Wu would follow Yi Qian, while the other two would set up an ambush in front of them. Then once they arrived, they would attack Yi Qian as fast as they could. Right now, they had already reached the deep part of the forest, and Gui Wu should have shown up as well. The young man said, the powerful warriors from the Moon Pavilion stopped us in the Gold Tripod City on purpose. They were probably trying to buy time for him. Huh. Let's catch up. Yeah. The ghost head nodded. They could have arrived earlier, but because of that incident, they were delayed for a while. So, he did not suspect anything as he followed behind the young man. Swoosh! The sword light flashed once before disappearing. The young man's running body paused for a second, then slid down due to the inertia. A head flew up into the sky. Because the sword light was too fast and too sudden, the ghost head did not even have the time to react. No. The next second, the ghost head's face turned hideous, his eyes filled with blood. On top of the tree, Yi Qian jumped towards the ghost head. He shook the star scar sword in his hand, and the sword light disappeared. Circles of vague patterns appeared in the air. Killing attack lone peak kill. Under that extremely fast sword aura, the ghost head did not have the strength to do anything. He could only watch the sword getting bigger and bigger in front of his eyes, stabbing towards his forehead. Shoo! Blood spilled everywhere as the ghost head rolled to the side. Looking at the stiff ears on the ground, Yi Qian sighed secretly. He was indeed a top peak level late clasping Yuan realm warrior. His mind and reflexes were all top-notch, and his battling experience was extremely rich as well. He was able to control his body at that critical moment and avoid that deadly sword attack. Die! The death of the young man had made the ghost head furious. His body was still rolling, but his right hand had already reached out, grabbing towards Yi Qian from a huge distance. Crack! Yi Qian's body was torn apart along with the ground under his feet. The curved chi power did not disappear completely, cutting the big tree behind him into pieces as well. Within the flying leaves, a human figure suddenly shot out. How is this possible? The ghost head was shocked. Although that claw attack was a bit rushed, even a peak-level late clasping Yuan realm warrior would not be able to escape unscathed. Plus, he had clearly seen Yi Qian being torn apart by that claw power. Actually, he could not be blamed for being shocked. When he and the young man arrived at the Gold Tripod City, the beast wave had already ended. So, he had not seen Yi Qian perform his separating shadow art. Purple zombie demon art. Yi Qian's sword art was way too sharp, and the ghost head was not confident that he could escape unscathed. So he decided not to back out, and instead he performed his most powerful defensive martial art. Then he opened his right hand into a claw, tearing through the air. He wanted to trade wounds with Yi Qian. He was confident that under this attack, Yi Qian would definitely be wounded more severely than him. Crack! The sword stabbed right into the ghost head's heart. Yi Qian was alerted, and his body suddenly exploded, turning into dozens of shadows. However, the ghost head's full-power claw attack had only torn apart dozens of shadows. Such a powerful Zhanqi layer and physical body. Yi Qian frowned. In his sight, the ghost head's skin had an intense purple color, like metal and hardwood. There was a sword hole on his heart, which was less than an inch deep. There was no blood coming out, and it did not look like a human's body, but more like a zombie's body. Yi Qian was shocked, and the ghost head was even more shocked. Among all the martial arts that he had trained, the most powerful one was the body training martial art, the purple zombie demon art. It was a mid-rank Earthrealm martial art, and had 11 levels in total. Once he reached the 11th level, warriors at the same level would basically not be able to break through his defense, and his skin would turn purple. Of course, he had not trained it to the 11th level yet. He had only reached the peak of the 10th level, and his skin had a hint of purple in it. The peak of the 10th level of the purple zombie demon art had been stabbed 3 inches into his body, and it had almost wounded his heart. How could the ghost head not be shocked? The scariest thing was that Yi-chan had sensed the danger and backed out in advance. In other words, if he had the chance, the sword would have pierced through his heart. I cannot give him the chance. The ghost head touched the wound with his hand, and the sword hole was slowly healing. This old man is not that easy to deal with. Before, he was not fully prepared for the 2 sword attacks. If I attack recklessly now, I am afraid it will not be that effective. Seeing that the ghost head was fully prepared and did not show any flaws, Yi-chan flashed his body without hesitation and disappeared into the deep part of the forest. He ran away. The ghost head felt annoyed, as if he had just punched the air. Glancing at the young man's body that had been separated from his body, the annoyed feeling was getting more and more intense. He could not imagine how furious his master would be when he found out about the death of the young man. He might even kill him with one palm attack. Even if he had trained his purple zombie demon art to the peak of the 11th level, he would still be nothing but an ant in front of his master. He would not have any chance to fight back. This is not a good place to stay. I should leave as soon as possible. The ghost head had a feeling that Yi-chan would not give up on killing him that easily. In the forest, Yi-chan would appear and disappear like a ghost, and it would be impossible to guard against him. The ghost head would not even be able to use 80% of his power. Only when he got out of the forest would he have the chance to kill him with one attack. Shoo! His feet touched the ground. The ghost head did not have time to bring back the young man's body. He flew towards where he came from. Boom! After flying for dozens of meters, the ghost head's body was blown back into the air and landed back where he was standing. A few leaves fell down. Yi-chan was standing on top of a tree. If he did not look with his eyes, he would not be able to tell that there was anyone there. He would only think that it was just air. Putting down his right hand, Yi-chan thought to himself, the power of the void-shattering finger art is still not that great. But in terms of Zhanqi breaking, it is still more powerful than the lone peak kill. The finger power was silent and undetectable. Returning to where he was standing, the ghost head's eyes popped out as if he was going to puke out blood. This is too much. Little brat, do not ever fall into my hands. Otherwise, I will make you beg for death. I will make you suffer all kinds of pain in the world. Before his anger disappeared, the ghost head threw out a claw attack onto the huge tree next to him. Boom! The huge tree was snapped in half, creating a shocking sound. Time passed slowly, and the sky started to darken. I am so pissed off. I would like to see how you are going to kill me. Before, the ghost head had tried countless times, but each time he would be beaten back by Yi-chan. He did not even know where his opponent was. If it were not for his strong mind, he would have gone crazy already. Performing the hiding chi spell, Yi-chan quietly disappeared into the night. Who? There was no air-tearing sound, only a light pattern in the air. Without thinking, the ghost head turned around and threw out a claw attack. Crack! Crack! All of a sudden, countless trees had been broken down, clearing out a huge space. In the night, Yi-chan was not in a hurry. He kept creating illusions, using Zhanqi shadows to confuse his opponent, creating an opportunity for his real body. He had to admit that the ghost head was the toughest opponent he had ever faced. Not only was his defense extremely high, but his attacks were also extremely powerful. Otherwise, he would not have lasted this long. A pair of eyes shone with a light purple light as the ghost head's breathing gradually calmed down. His mind was highly focused as he tried to sense every movement around him. Right now, he had already lost hope in Ghost 5, Ghost 6, and Ghost 9. Without any surprises, the 3 would be just like his young master, all dead under his opponent's assassination. I have been through all kinds of tough battles. You want to kill me? In your dreams. As the leader of the ghost hall, the ghost head was famous for his assassination skills. After calming down, he had actually gotten used to Yi Chen's fighting style. He wanted to see who would be the first one to fall. Chapter 219. As the night deepened, the moon quietly hid behind the lotus clouds. Dozens of miles away, the gold tripod city was full of people and lights. However, the forest was quiet, and the atmosphere was depressing. Without a sound, the cold light suddenly exploded. Get lost! The ghost head yelled. His skinny palm tore out a few purple claw energies. The claw energies were aggressive and sharp, clashing with the cold light. Chi! After leaving a sword mark on the ghost lord's arm, Yi Chen's body flashed and disappeared into the night. It seems like I have overestimated myself after all. I thought I could threaten astral-reaching realm warriors in a complicated environment. But now it seems like I can't even kill a peak-level late-clasping Yuan realm warrior who knows how to assassinate with one attack. It would be even more difficult for me to deal with an astral-reaching realm warrior. As long as I miss one attack, the astral-reaching realm warrior would be able to kill me 10 times over. Yi Chen was very clear about the horrifying power of astral-reaching realm warriors. If the opponent did not put up his protective Zhen Yuan layer, he might still have a chance. But if he did, then there would be no chance at all since the quality of the Zhen Yuan was not something Zhan Qi could compete with. Like a ghost, he moved around senior ghost without making any sound. Yi Chen rolled his eyes, raised his right hand and pointed at the air. Bang! In the distance, the ghost elder felt like he was struck by lightning. His feet left the ground and crashed into a big tree. The big tree collapsed with a loud bang, and the leaves flew everywhere. Good chance! Hiding the star scar sword in its scabbard, Yi Chen's body flashed, creating 4 Zhen Qi shadows. The 4 Zhen Qi shadows ran along with his real body. The difference was that his real body did not expose any qi, while the Zhen Qi vibration coming from the Zhen Qi shadows were like luminous pearls in the dark night, extremely eye-catching. For which one or none of them? The power of the void-shattering finger art was too weak, so the ghost head, who had cultivated the purple zombie demonic art, was not affected at all. He stood up in shock, not knowing what Yi Chen was doing. I don't care anymore. I'll kill them all together. With a roar, an intense cyan light appeared on the ghost's body. Both of his hands cooperated with each other, and countless claw energies spread out, turning into an inescapable net. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. The Zhen Qi shadow was cut into pieces, dissipating into the purest energy. Xiu! The threatening sword light came from behind the ghost head. I've been waiting for you for a long time. The ghost head laughed. He twisted his body and spun in a spiral shape, shooting out several claw energies. With a bang, the sound of weapons breaking rang out. The ghost head knew that the weapon in Yi Chen's hand was clearly a low-rank weapon. How could it be broken in one attack? It should be known that even astral-reaching realm warriors would have a hard time destroying low-rank weapons. Rest in peace. In front of him, Yi Chen held the star scar sword and pierced through the ghost head's body. It turned out that the second his Zhen Qi shadow had been destroyed, he had created another Zhen Qi shadow and made it hold the normal greatsword, the Dragon Spring Sword. Taking advantage of the chaos, Yi Chen had gotten behind the ghost head and created the most realistic illusion of an attack. His real body was still in front of the ghost head, giving him a lightning attack. Everything was perfect and it had worked. I can't accept this. Beast transformation. The ghost head's eyes turned red all of a sudden. He pushed his purple zombie demon art to its limit. Zhen Qi traveled along the star scar sword, then started to vibrate violently before exploding and leaking out. It's a secret martial art. Yi Chen's expression changed drastically. His palm almost dropped the star scar sword. Soon that vibrating exploding power exploded out and landed on his chest. Pulling out the sword, Yi Chen puked out a mouthful of blood and was blown away. Die! His red eyes dragged out 2 beams of light in the dark night. The ghost head appeared in front of Yi Chen within a second. His palm it was his beast claw that reached down, tearing apart Yi Chen's protective Zhen Qi layer. Shadow explosion. The extreme danger had made Yi Chen extremely calm. His body shook once, and his real body left the protective Zhen Qi layer. avoiding the ghost head's attack. The Zhenqi shadow that he had left behind had been torn apart. The ghost head opened his mouth and roared at Yichun, letting out a lump of condensed sound wave. Break! Yichun pointed out his right index finger in the air, hitting the sound wave right in the middle. The sound wave twisted violently and exploded, turning into countless sound blades that spread out, cutting the trees and the ground into pieces. Rumble! Right at that moment, the ground suddenly started to shake. As he was flying backward, Yichun looked over at the ghost head. The ghost head, who had already turned into a beast, stabbed both of his hands into the ground. He used all of his strength to lift up a 10-meter-big piece of dirt, attacking towards Yichun. My intelligence seems to have decreased. Under the pressure of the Zhenqi, the dirt suddenly softened. Yichun quickly sank into the ground, avoiding the huge dirt. The dirt was shattered, and the ghost head, who had turned into a beast, went through it. He did not see Yichun anywhere. Here! The sword light shot out from under his feet, flashing once before disappearing. Oh! The ghost head let out a scream that did not sound like a human. Deep sword marks appeared between his legs. Normally, if a human were to receive this kind of sword attack, they would be paralyzed for a short period of time. However, in his beast form, besides screaming, the first thing that came to his mind was to fight back. He bent his body and threw out a punch onto the ground. The ground within a 10-meter radius started to shake violently, looking like a huge wave. At the edge, Yichun jumped out with a pale face. His eyebrows were tightly knitted together. Although the ghost head had lost most of his human mind, he had become even more violent and fearless. His defense seemed to be no weaker than the body-training martial art from before. That should not be a problem. The reaction and speed of the ghost head had increased tremendously, which made him even scarier than a beast at the same level. What kind of secret martial art is this? Looking at the ghost head, who had needle-like hair all over his body, a face that looked like a wolf's mouth and sharp teeth, Yichun felt a headache. In order to increase his attacking power, he had turned himself into something that was neither a human nor a ghost. The ghost head looked at Yichun from afar. His beast eyes were full of cruelty and killing intent. He had bought the beast transformation secret martial art from the trading palace in the martial city. Different from the other martial arts, the beast transformation secret martial art could only be performed with the spirit blood of a beast. Normally, he would not use this martial art unless it was a life or death situation, because once he used it, his beast body would automatically release his Zhenqi. Before, Yichun had been wounded by the Zhenqi that had leaked out. Besides that, after the beast transformation, although the warrior's cultivation would still be the same, his Zhenqi would need to be accumulated slowly. Without the fire dragon fruit and other natural treasures, he might not be able to recover even after a year and a half. That was the real reason why he did not dare to use it easily. Roar! A loud roar was heard as the ghost head's legs bounced and jumped towards Yichun. His huge claws were shining with a cold light in the night. Void-shattering finger. Hit! Pointing out his right index finger in the air, Yichun held his sword with his left hand and attacked. Under the powerful void-shattering finger power, the ghost head's beast body stopped in midair. Then a beam of sword light pierced towards his forehead. Crack! The ghost head's head reached up a little bit. He opened his huge mouth full of sharp teeth and bit onto the star scar sword. His body tilted, and a slim black shadow suddenly shot out, wrapping around Yichun's body. Tail! Wrapping around Yichun was a long and thin tail full of fur. It looked a bit like a snake but without scales. Plus, it was very soft. The more Yichun struggled, the tighter the tail got. With his body wrapped up and his star scar sword bitten, Yichun did not even think before he formed a fist with his right hand and punched heavily onto the ghost head's huge chin. Popping sounds continued to be heard. Blood leaked out from the corner of the ghost head's mouth, and one of his teeth had also been broken. A deep roar came from his throat as his two beast claws attacked towards Yichun from both sides. Without a choice, Yichun let go of his left hand that was holding the star scar sword. He reached out both of his hands, blocking out the ghost head's beast claws. At the same time, he twisted his body. Waves of twisting power acted on his tail. As long as the tail loosened even a little bit, he would be able to escape. The series of movements between the two had all happened in midair. Soon the ghost head landed on the ground first, while Yi-chan was wrapped up by the tail, both of his feet hanging in the air. Tornado broke in clouds. Using his feet as a sword, Yi-chan kicked his right foot up. His mysterious Zhan Qi simulated the sword Qi, twisting the Qi flow and creating a small tornado in the narrow space between the two. The tornado expanded rapidly, attacking both Yi-chan and the ghost head's bodies. Originally, the ghost head was just about to suppress Yi-chan, and his beast claws were about to break through Yi-chan's defense. But under the attack of the tornado, his tail could not help but loosen, and his eyes could not see anything. Yi-chan could not see anything either. However, with his powerful soul power, his eyes could not see as clearly as his eyes. Enduring the cutting power of the tornado, his body shook, and he instantly escaped from the tail's control. Then with a weird posture he moved towards the tornado. After spinning for half a circle, he had completely merged into it. Without even looking, he reached out his palm and took out the Star Scar sword from the ghost head's mouth. With the Star Scar sword in his hand, Yi-chan used the spinning power of the tornado to perform his lone peak kill over and over again. Pooh! 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 At such a close distance the ghost head could not even dodge. His body had been pierced through like a sieve by the sword edge. His body looked like a bucket with a lot of holes, and blood kept pouring out of the holes. The tornado was not made of sword Qi after all. Under the continuous attacks the spinning power was getting weaker and weaker, and eventually disappeared. Yi-chan stood in midair as he threw out a sword attack like lightning, stabbing into the ghost head's forehead within a second. The tip of the sword came out from the back of his head. The needle-like hair disappeared, and the ghost head returned to his human body. The life in his eyes had disappeared completely. Taking out the Star Scar sword, Yi-chan's legs felt a bit weak. He looked down and saw that the clothes on his body were torn, revealing the low-rank light armor underneath. The low-rank light armor was not damaged at all. If it were not for it, that tornado would have wounded him badly, since it was created between the two of them. Of course, if it were not for that tornado, the result would have been unimaginable. The ghost head who had turned into a beast was even more horrifying than a beast. His speed and reflexes had reached a whole new level. If it was a frontal attack, the lone peak kill would not be able to lock onto him at all. Only like what happened before, where his opponent could not dodge at all, would it work. Puking out a mouthful of blood, Yi-chan wiped his lips. He forced a laugh. This battle could be the most dangerous one since he had arrived on this true spirit continent. If he was not careful, he would be killed by his opponent. Just like Murong Qingqing had said, some of the peak-level clasping Yuan realm warriors who had no hope of reaching the astral reaching realm were very scary. Because of that, in order to increase their attacking power, they would do everything they could, even destroying their own image. Chapter 220. Swallowing a healing pellet and a soul-replenishing pellet, Yi-chan waved his right hand in the air. The storage ring on the ghost head's finger fell off automatically and flew into his palm. Let's get out of here first. My wounds are a bit serious. During the battle with the ghost head, Yi-chan had been wounded 3 times in total. The first time was when he stabbed his opponent with his sword, and was injured by his aggressive Zhan Qi. The second time was when he sneaked into the ground and was punched out by the ghost head, who had turned into a beast. The last time was when he was wounded by himself. Although he had a low-rank light armor to protect him, once his protective Zhan Qi layer was broken, the light armor could only defend against the power on the surface. The attacks that went through the light armor would all hit on his body. If it were not for the King Kong Jade body, Yi-chen's wounds would be even more serious. Putting away the storage ring, Yi-chen's body flashed, disappearing into the night. The forest that had returned to its peaceful state looked even creepier. After a while, a shrill bird cry was heard from the sky. Soon a huge shadow covered the sky. The waning moon emerged from the lotus cloud. Under the dim moonlight, one could see that the huge shadow was a strange bird with 4 claws. The strange bird's eyes were as red as torches, shining brightly like 2 lamps in the forest, emitting a ferocious aura. On the back of the bird, there was a human figure standing on it. He closed his eyes, seeming to be sensing something. After a while he suddenly yelled, "How dare you kill the ghost man's adopted son? Who dares to do this?" Following his furious roar, the trees and plants in the forest withered one after another. Soon after, they automatically began to burn, turning into waves of ashes that quickly spread out. "The ghost man! He is here! Hurry and tell the others!" Nearby, an astral-reaching realm warrior who was passing by was shocked. He extended his body and turned into a beam of light, flying toward the gold tripod city at an extreme speed. He had reached a speed that was a couple times faster than the speed of sound. Shoo! Shoo! Two white shadows blocked in front of him. These two white shadows were wearing cold white long robes with extremely long sleeves. Their heads were wrapped in white cloth, and they were releasing a creepy vibe. They did not look like humans but more like ghosts. "Piss off!" The astral-reaching realm warrior who was about to escape shook his palm, causing the air to twist and shatter. The aggressive yellow shockwave spread out in a fan shape, looking like a beam of light in the sky. "Poochie!" Behind him, two white shadows appeared out of nowhere. The white shadows held sharp blades in their hands, and they pierced his heart and neck without hesitation. Blood dyed his clothes red as this astral-reaching realm warrior landed on the ground unwillingly. "Bring him back. I want to turn him into a rank 7 zombie." The corpse man, who was shrouded in black mist, flew over on his weird bird. His tone was strangely calm, which was a huge contrast to his previous rage. It gave people a scary feeling that his mood was unpredictable. "Yes." One of the white shadows waved his hand and a chain pierced down, binding the astral-reaching realm warrior's body and easily pulling it up. "Forget it. You two go back first. The other two will come with me for a meeting." The corpse man seemed to have thought of something as he spoke with a dry and hoarse voice. The night was thick. The 5 of them split into 2 directions and disappeared into the sky. Instead of going back to the gold tripod city, Yichan randomly found a small town and stayed there. "Young hero, the hot water is ready for you," said the waiter respectfully in the guest room of the restaurant. Yichan said, "All right, you go out first. Do not disturb me without my permission." "Yes." Leaving the guest room, the waiter closed the door behind him. After taking a hot shower and washing away all the blood and dirt on his body, Yichan put on a clean set of clothes and walked into the bedroom. "Let's see what I got." The wounds on his body would not be healed in a short time, so there was no need to rush. Plus, Yichan was very interested in the wealth of the 5. Perhaps there would be something useful for him, such as the great healing medicine. The first thing he opened were the storage rings of the 3 men in black. 85,000 low-rank soul stones. 72,000 low-rank soul stones. 78,000 low-rank soul stones. Compared to normal clasping yuan realm warriors, the 3 of them were quite rich. Without any surprises, this was not all they had. Only those lone warriors would like to put all their wealth in their storage rings, just like Yichan. Putting away the low-rank soul stones and some other stuff, Yichan opened the storage ring of the ghost head. The ghost head's wealth was obviously more than the 3 of them. He had more than 150,000 low-rank soul stones, millions of gold and 3 manuals. 2 of them were low-rank Earth Realm manuals, while the other one was the Beast Transformation Secret Art. Right next to the Beast Transformation Secret Art were 2 transparent little bottles. There were notes on the bottles which said Rank 6 Wolf Beast Spirit Blood and Rank 6 Demonic Ape Spirit Blood respectively. The Beast Transformation Secret Art requires the Beast Spirit Blood. 1 drop can only be used once. After the Beast Transformation, the Zhen Qi will be pushed out immediately. Opening the Beast Transformation Secret Art, Yichan took a look and closed it immediately. The side effect of this secret art was too big. In order to be powerful for a short period of time, it would take a lot of time to recover in the future. It was like gambling on tomorrow. Lastly, it was the storage ring of the young man. It did not disappoint Yichan. The young man's wealth was definitely rich. 350,000 low-rank soul stones, 10 million gold. Only these 2 things were more than most of the clasping yuan realm warriors. Besides that, there were also a lot of other valuable things, including a bottle of top-rank healing pellets. This bottle of healing pellets is worth at least millions of gold. Most importantly, there is nowhere to buy it even if you have the money. It should be able to shorten the healing time by half. Opening the stopper, Yi-chan took out a pellet and pinched it in his hand. The pellet was blue in color, with spiral patterns on the surface. It was crystal clear, and a refreshing fragrance spread out. Not knowing if it was just an illusion, Yi-chan felt that after inhaling the fragrance, his wounds had gotten a little better. No, this bottle of healing pellets could not be bought with gold. Although Yi-chan did not know what the name of the pellet was, he could tell from the fragrance that it was not that simple. Even if it was not as good as the great healing pellets from the auction, it was still a rare rank pellet. Without thinking too much, Yi-chan packed up all of his belongings and swallowed a pellet, entering the recovery mode. 3 days had passed, and Yi-chan opened his eyes, looking very energetic. I was right. 1 pellet had completely healed my wounds, and made up for all of the yuan qi that I had lost. Standing up, Yi-chan performed a set of fist art. His fist brought up a strong wind that made his bones and muscles vibrate. The next morning, Yi-chan left the town. His destination was the Martial City. Back then, Yuan Zonghua and Mr. Jin had teamed up to fight against him. Because he was not powerful enough, he had to run away. But now, his power had increased drastically. Not only had he reached the peak level of mid-clasping Yuan realm, he had also combined the 11th movement of his lone peak kill, which was extremely powerful. It would be strange if he did not go back for revenge. I hope you two can still stay in the Martial City. In midair, Yi-chan sneered. He increased his speed to his limit, flying towards the Martial City. The Martial City was located in the middle of the heavy mysterious mountains. It was surrounded by deep chasms, and the gravity inside the chasms was extremely high. Even clasping Yuan realm warriors would not be able to fly there. But every second, there would be a huge number of warriors rushing into the Martial City, wanting to buy some rare treasures. Of course, there were also a lot of warriors leaving the Martial City, wanting to train and find some opportunities. On the thick chain, Yi-chan's body moved like lightning, and he quickly slid to the other side. What was strange was that the Zhen Qi vibration coming from Yi-chan was not at the peak level of mid-clasping Yuan realm, but at the peak level of early clasping Yuan realm, which was a whole level lower. Walking on the street of the Martial City, Yi-chan thought to himself, if I expose my real power, Yuan Zonghua and Mr. Jin would definitely be scared, and would not attack me easily. But now that I have used the hiding qi spell to hide my cultivation, they would not have to worry too much. The Martial City was too big, and Yi-chan naturally did not know where the two were. But he had his own plans. At the counter outside the training room, reserve a mid-rank training room for me. It will only take 3 days. Yi-chan paid 3,000 low-rank soul stones to the woman. The beautiful woman had already forgotten about Yi-chan. She laughed and said, "All right, here is your J-tag. Within 3 days, you can enter the training room to train at any time." After getting the J-tag, Yi-chan turned around and walked out. After Yi-chan left, one of the waiters in the line near the counter had a look of extreme joy in his eyes. In a private room of a restaurant, "Sir, the person you asked me to watch a couple of months ago has come back. He even reserved a mid-rank training room for 3 days. I think he is now in the trading hall." The waiter, who had changed into a casual outfit, laughed and said. Yuan Zonghua looked normal at first, but after hearing what the waiter had said, he froze for a second, then became extremely happy. Haha, it seems like he still does not know that I have spies in the training room area. He thinks he can get away with it. You have done well, this is your reward. Yuan Zonghua casually threw a bag of low-rank soul stones to the waiter. The waiter opened it and saw that there were at least hundreds of low-rank soul stones in the bag, which was enough for him to train for a year. He said happily, "Sir, if you have any missions in the future, I will be happy to help. Don't worry, I will not forget you." Waiting until the waiter had left, Yuan Zonghua walked back and forth for a couple of steps, then said with a cruel voice, "This time we cannot let him get away. We have to find a couple of helpers. Mr. Jin is one of them. Who else should we find?" "Oh right, call the 3 brothers from the Wolf Head Mountain as well. These 3 are cruel. They have done a lot of killing and robbing. They are all experienced late-clasping Yuan realm warriors, and they are not that much weaker than me. Together with the 3 of them, we will have an unprecedentedly powerful team. Let's see how he can get away." Yuan Zonghua was very confident about this attack. Not to mention the others, he had not wasted the last 4 to 5 months either. Not only had he completely recovered from his wounds, he had also trained one of his martial arts to the highest level. Adding his ace martial art, the minor blood demon separating great art, his power had reached an unprecedented peak. If it were not for the fact that he was worried about Yi Chen's tricks, he would have been able to wound him badly by himself, or even kill him. However, as a cautious person, he did not want to take risks. He clearly remembered the lesson from last time. If it were not for Mr. Jin's help, he might not even be able to survive. Chapter 221. Yi Chen did not go to the trading palace just to confuse people. Actually, he was also planning to find a fist art manual. During the battle with the ghost head, his star scar sword had been bitten by him, and he could not do anything with his bare hands. If it were not for the fact that he had performed his tornado broken clouds with his feet instead of his sword, he would have been killed by that ghost head already. If he had trained a powerful fist art at that time, even if he could not kill the ghost head immediately, he would at least be able to wound him badly and free himself. Right now I am not powerful enough yet. Training only sword arts obviously would not be able to handle all kinds of battles. So my fist arts must be powerful as well. As for the other martial arts, I will not learn them. I do not have enough energy. The void-shattering finger art was indeed powerful, but it was too deep and complicated. With Yi Chen's current cultivation and knowledge, he would not be able to understand the essence of it. Entering the trading palace would require enough wealth. Yi Chen took out a storage ring that he had prepared beforehand and handed it over to the warrior who was guarding the palace. After the warrior had checked it, he returned the storage ring and let him in immediately. Inside the palace there were a lot of people talking. Clasping Yuan realm warriors could be seen everywhere. Burning Wind Godly Fist Art, no, the rank is too low. Mountain Shattering Fist Art, no, not as good as Tyrant Fist Art. Small Star Fist Art, it is indeed good, but unfortunately what I want is destructive power. On his way, Yi Chen realized that among the fist art manuals that were being sold, more than 90% of them were low-rank Earth Realm fist arts. There were very few mid-rank Earth Realm fist arts, and as for the higher-rank high-rank Earth Realm fist arts, he could not find any at all. But it was understandable, since high-rank Earth Realm martial arts were all top-secret martial arts, even for rank 6 martial institutions. No matter how many treasures there were in the trading palace, there would not be any high-rank Earth Realm martial arts. Lowering his requirements, Yi Chen set his sights on mid-rank Earth Realm fist art manuals. After walking around the trading palace for miles, Yi Chen had found 2 fist art manuals that he was satisfied with. One was the 3-colored fire fist art, and the other was the 5-mountain godly fist art. The 3-colored fire fist art had 3 movements in total. The first movement would produce a red fist power, the second movement would be purple, and the third movement would be golden. It was perfect for warriors who had trained fire element Zhanqi. However, Yi Chen's great mystery Zhanqi did not have an element, so he could train any kind of martial skill. Meanwhile, the 5-mountain godly fist technique was more aggressive. There were 5 movements in total, and each movement was stronger than the last. Every time one of them was performed, the physical body had to be strong enough. Otherwise, not only would it not hurt the enemy, it would backfire on the user. The 3-colored fire fist art was 170,000 low-rank soul stones, while the 5-mountain godly fist art was 210,000 low-rank soul stones. They were both mid-rank Earth Realm martial arts, but there was a 40,000 difference. Boss, I want the 3-colored fire fist manual. While Yi Chen was still thinking, the 3-colored fire fist was chosen by another peak-level late clasping Yuan realm warrior. With a bitter smile, Yi Chen walked to the crystal counter where the 5-mountain godly fist technique was kept. Stopping his steps, Yi Chen's gaze landed on the crystal counter in the corner. Inside the transparent counter, there were only 2 or 3 treasures for sale. One of them was indeed a fist art manual, which was labeled high-rank Earth Realm Fist Art Incomplete Manual. Let's go check it out. Before, Yi Chen had been searching too fast, so he did not notice the existence of this crystal counter. Otherwise, he would not have been so calm. There were a lot of warriors surrounding the crystal counter. What a shame. Normally, there would be 1 or 2 complete movements in a manual. But this fist art manual does not even have 1 complete movement. How am I supposed to train it? And it is still so expensive. 300,000 low-rank soul stones. Which warrior below the astral reaching realm would be able to afford it? I think they are trying to make fun of us and show off. What is there to show off? Even if you sell it to me for 30,000 low-rank soul stones, I would not buy it. Let's go. We have been excited for nothing. People came fast and left even faster. Soon there were only 2 or 3 people left. Boss, can you make it cheaper? I will buy it for 50,000 low-rank soul stones. A late-clasping Yuan realm warrior seemed to be interested in it, so he suggested. The boss was an elder with gray hair, wearing a brown long robe. He sat on the cushion behind the counter without moving. Hearing him, he said, "If you are interested, I can reduce it by 10 or 20,000. 10 or 20,000 less. Isn't this a scam?" That warrior cursed and left. The 2 people next to him were not interested in watching anymore, so they left as well. In the end, only Yi-chan was left. He did not try to negotiate the price, but started to look at the fist art manual. The fist art manual had been split into 2, with only the top half and no bottom half. Therefore, it was different from the normal incomplete manuals. This manual was the most incomplete of the incomplete manuals, which was almost impossible to train unless someone was willing to spend decades to study it. But for most people, decades were too long. No one was willing to spend decades studying a fist art manual, even if it was originally a high-rank Earth Realm one. After all, if one had decades of time to study, they might as well train and try to reach a higher level. Because it was split in half, the name of the manual was also split in half. Only the first 2 words dragon elephant could be seen. As for the rest, no one knew. Can you take it out and let me have a look? Yi-chan asked. The elder said, Are you sure you want to buy it? Yi-chan laughed. If it suits me, I will buy it. If it doesn't, I will definitely not buy it. It is very simple. All right. I will give you 3 breaths, don't look too much. Opening the crystal counter, the elder took out half of the manual and handed it to Yi-chan. His eyes were full of caution, as if he was afraid that Yi-chan would look too much. Yi-chan smiled helplessly and opened the first page. The first movement, Dragon Elephant Great Power. The second movement, Dragon Elephant Roar. The third movement, Elephant Mountain Fighting. The fourth movement, Dragon Ocean Pouring. The 7th movement, Nameless. Flipping through it quickly, Yi-chan found out that there were 7 movements in this book. Each movement had a weird name and he could not tell what they were. But he had a feeling that it was not a lie, and that it was a real high-rank Earth Realm fist art. Perhaps it was even of a higher rank. 3 breaths. The elder snatched the manual from Yi-chan's hand. Touching his storage ring, Yi-chan suddenly said, I have a question. Do you know the rank of this manual? A hint of hesitation flashed through the elder's eyes. After a while he sighed and said, To be honest, I don't know either. I found it by accident on a small island in the Star Regional Lake. But in my opinion, it should be more than just a high-rank Earth Realm. Even though the owner of the manual had been dead for many years, his body was still releasing a horrifying vibe. How could his belongings be simple? Releasing horrifying aura after a long time of death? Yi-chan was shocked. Was this not the sign of a Sea of Souls realm warrior's death? As for life and death realm warriors, it was extremely hard for them to die, unless they were completely destroyed. Otherwise, even if they were beaten until only a piece of flesh was left, they would be able to recover. The more powerful ones would only need a drop of blood to be reborn. There were almost no life and death realm warriors who left their bodies behind. Of course, nothing was absolute in this world. Then why didn't you write top rank Earth Realm? You do not know the real rank anyway. The elder forced a smile. If I wrote top rank Earth Realm, people would think that I was trying to be mysterious, and would not pay attention to it. Also, I have studied this manual carefully, and did not find anything special. To be honest, yesterday an astral-reaching realm warrior came to take a look, but he shook his head and left, saying that without the bottom half, even a heaven realm fist art would be useless. Yi-chan thought for a while and felt that the astral-reaching realm warrior was right. Trying to derive the whole manual from half of the manual was even harder than creating one's own. After all, if one were to create one's own martial arts, everything would be based on one's own framework, and the effects would be clear. On the other hand, deriving someone else's martial arts would be using someone else's framework to fill in the content, which would be greatly restricted. 100,000 low-rank soul stones. Any more and I will leave. Yi-chan stared at the elder. A bit too little, right? It is a manual left by a powerful warrior after all. The elder was not satisfied with this price. Yi-chan did not say another word and left. Wait. 150,000 low-rank soul stones. 120,000. Damn it. 120,000. Here you go. Yi-chan smiled as he continued to trade. I am only buying it to study it. What can you expect from me? The elder rolled his eyes. I can see that you are sincere about buying it. Those people before you want to buy it for only 50,000 low-rank soul stones? In their dreams. Putting away the half-manual, Yi-chan walked over to the crystal counter where the 5-mountain godly fist art was. The 5-mountain godly fist art was priced at 210,000 low-rank soul stones. Obviously it was too expensive. Normally, a top mid-rank Earthrealm fist art would only cost 180,000 or 190,000 low-rank soul stones. However, this was the trading palace, and the price was set by the warriors themselves. They could sell it for as much as they wanted. Yi-chan, who had made a fortune before, did not hesitate and bought it directly. Leaving the trading palace, Yi-chan went back to the training room that he had booked. 3 days later noon, Yi-chan purposely dressed up and walked towards the city gate quietly. Haha, I knew that you had come to the martial city. You wanted to sneak out. On the second floor of a restaurant nearby, Yuan Zongbua laughed viciously. Right next to him there were 4 other people. On the left was Mr. Jean, who had a big smile on his face. The other 3 were extremely muscular, all at late clasping Yuan realm. I thought you wanted us to come for some powerful guy. He is only a peak-level early clasping Yuan realm warrior. Do you really need to make such a big fuss? Second brother is right. Yuan Zongbua, what the hell are you doing? Let me tell you, if we do not get anything good, we will ask you for it. Yuan Zongbua was annoyed and said, I was careless before and got ambushed by him. But you should not underestimate him. His flying art is very powerful. Mr. Jean can prove it. Mr. Jean smiled. Brother Yuan is right. He has learned a very powerful flying art. He can create Zhanqi shadows to confuse his opponents. Creating Zhanqi shadows is indeed a bit tricky, but you too should have been careless. Otherwise, how could you let him get away? Yuan Zongbua was a bit embarrassed. He did not tell the other 3 about him and Mr. Jean being injured. Otherwise, they would definitely laugh at him. Indeed, Mr. Jean and I were both careless. We did not take him seriously. This time, I called you 3 brothers from the Wolf Head Mountain was mainly to prevent him from running away. Besides, I only want that low-rank great sword. You guys can have everything else. That's more like it. This brat is already at peak level early clasping Yuan realm at such a young age. He must have a lot of good stuff with him. I hope he will not disappoint us. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.